Raise your hand if you are a coffee drinker. Now go ahead and raise your hand if you know where your coffee is produced or how it's produced, where it comes from. This should actually matter because for most of us, coffee isn't just something we have once in a while. It's literally something we drink every single day. It's our daily ritual. And I've been a coffee lover for most of my life. And if there's one thing that I've learned in a bit of research I've done lately, it's that this one main thing I really want to share with you guys is that when choosing coffee, choosing organic over conventional really is the better choice. Today, let's talk a little bit about the origin of coffee, its history, how it gets into our cups. Let's talk about pesticides and the effects that these pesticides can have not only on us, but on the producers of coffee, as well as the environment. And then we'll talk a little bit about the many benefits of choosing organic. So the origins, how does it get into our cups? Coffee is an incredibly diverse crop. It's grown all over the world, and its history, according to the National Coffee Association's website, can be traced back many centuries to these ancient coffee forests in Ethiopia. And it was near these forests, the legend has it, that there was a goat herder named Kaldi who noticed that his goats got very energetic after consuming these berries off of this certain shrub. The same article goes on to explain how coffee very quickly replaced the common breakfast beverages of the day, which were beer and wine, weirdly, and that after they started drinking coffee, everybody started getting much more energetic and alert in the morning, and how work quality actually began to increase, as you can imagine. So the coffee beans are these really lovely little things that are seeds. So the seeds, there are 2 seeds in each coffee cherry, and these coffee cherries and the shrubs themselves are very delicate. So all coffee has to be farmed by hand, not by machine. The beans are extracted from the seeds, they're washed and roasted, and then they're ground, and then they become our delicious cup of coffee. So now that we know that, the history and the origin, let's talk about the more alarming part of this equation, which are the pesticides. Coffee is one of the most heavily sprayed crops in the world. And out of all of the coffee produced, only 6.6% of coffee produced right now is produced organically, which means it's produced without the use of these pesticides. And the effects of pesticide consumption is pretty controversial. Most of the companies that use pesticides are going to tell you that they don't really harm us or the environment, but even as if these people are saying this, that we might only consume a little bit or a minuscule amount, we're still getting that minuscule amount every single day. And that's got to add up. And also, it's not just about us, right? It's about the workers, the farmers, the producers. And an EcoWatch.com article actually just recently did a study of 81 farmers in eastern Jamaica. And in this study, 78% of these farmers actually experienced effects of pesticide exposure, which were tightness in the chest, dizziness, difficulty breathing. And we have to think about that there are millions of people that work by hand on these coffee farms. They also wreak havoc on the environment. It contaminates soil, water supply, turf, and other vegetation. And if it contaminates those things, we also have to understand that it's going to contaminate the wildlife that rely on these very things, including ourselves. So now that we understand some of the harmful effects, how can we help? We can help by choosing organic coffee. The list of health benefits is really encouraging. The Environmental Working Group just showed us this year that switching from conventional to organic showed a rapid and dramatic reduction in urinary pesticide levels, which in turn showed increased fertility, reduced incidence of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, lower BMI, and a reduced risk of type 2 diabetes. So a lot of really good things can happen here. Another good reason to switch is that you're just going to feel good about supporting the farmers that are doing the right thing by not only us and their workers, but by the environment that we still really heavily rely on. Finally, it's a really easy choice to make. There's always a choice in the grocery store, and there's always an organic option on sale. So now that we've seen the benefits let's wrap up by looking at what we've discussed today. We've talked about the origins of coffee. We've talked about how it gets into our cups, the effects of pesticides on us and the workers and the environment, and just really how pretty easy it is to switch to organic and all the good things that can happen from that. So it's a simple choice we can make, right? So maybe the next time you're in the grocery store, you might think about clean water supply for us and the entire world. The next time you're in Starbucks, you might think about the effects of the pesticides on all of our beautiful wildlife. And it might make you ask for an organic option, because it really comes down to that. If we ask and if we act with our dollars, then the big companies will begin to actually listen. Be healthy. Thank you very much.